It's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This is one of my favorite books of all time. This is a reread for me, but I hadn't read it in several years. I always like to say that Ray Bradbury was probably my first favorite author. When you're making that transition from like reading kids' books to you're starting to read adult novels and stuff like that. Ray Bradbury was the first author that I really fell in love with and just wanted to read all his books. And Fahrenheit 451 was probably my favorite Ray Bradbury book at the time. And Bradbury, honestly, his works played a big role in me really becoming a huge reader. I become obsessed with his books when I was a kind of a teenager and just wanted to read as many of as he could. And it also began to introduce me to other authors, especially of his time period, that maybe some other people wouldn't read. You'd be more focused on new stuff, but like I'd read Bradbury and then you'd hear comparisons to other authors of his time period. Like, oh, well, I like Bradbury, I want to check out this other person. So he definitely helped open me up to an entire world of literature that maybe I would have never been exposed to if I didn't fall in love with Bradbury. So again, it had been several years since I'd read this book. It's like, I was kind of looking through, I was in the mood to reread some of my books. It's like, I haven't read that one in a while, and honestly, with everything going on in the world today, especially in America, and a lot of stuff in the news about books trying to be taken out of libraries and banned from schools and stuff like that, which is a topic I'm very passionate about. I'm a local volunteer with a Friends of the Library group. I'm very passionate about books, passionate about libraries, people having access to them. So anytime that type of news comes up, I always just think about Fahrenheit 451. So I think this is a great time to read it. And this book still hits. It's great. I will say this is no longer my favorite Ray Bradbury book. I probably would go with Something Wicked This Way Comes if I have to pick one. Bradbury is probably no longer my favorite author. He's still one of my favorites, but I think there's other authors that have passed him since then. I think I've, enjoy other writers, maybe writing styles a little bit more now than I did versus compared to Bradbury's writing styles. But this book is still really entertaining, really important, and does a great job of painting why books are so important, why it's important to read, and what the danger is when a society begins to ban and destroy books and try to take books away from people and just deny access to books. If you don't know the plot of Fahrenheit 451, I'll do a very quick plot synopsis, but I think most people probably know the basic plot. But basically this book is set in America sometime in the future. It's never really explained when, but basically at this point America is kind of ruled by some sort of dictatorship. There's not really a whole lot given into about like who the leadership was, and you get a little bit of details how this came fast, but it's very vague. But you just know like this is kind of a dictatorship that's taking control over all levels of society. And a big way they did this is they basically have made it illegal to read books. Not like just some books, like books are just illegal. And now firemen's jobs, instead of like putting out fires, because houses have been made fireproof, firemen's jobs are now to find books and burn them. And if you are found with books and your house is burned down and you're a criminal against the state, and they've completely rewritten history, and it's now believed, everybody that lives in this society believes like, oh, this is what firemen have always done. They've always burned books, and everybody's always known books have been very dangerous and you shouldn't be reading them and stuff like that. And it's so good that we finally have got rid of them. Fahrenheit 451, the title specifically alludes to the temperature at which books begin to burn, which is a very powerful title. The main character of this book is Guy Montag, who is a firefighter who begins to question what's going on in the world and if he really should be burning books. And basically as he eventually takes a book from a house that he was supposed to burn at. As he begins to get exposed to books, this really begins to make him question the reality and realize everything that he's been told is really not true. And books are really beginning to make him think. And that's kind of the basic plot. Don't want to get into it too much, but I would say if you've never read Fahrenheit 451, I think this is one of these classic books you should read. Even if you're not into sci-fi or this is kind of semi-dystopian as well. If you're usually not into those types of books, this is one of these books I think is so important that like everybody should read at least once. Because one, it gets referenced all the time. So I can only say if you've never read Fahrenheit 451, it gets referenced all the times in books, TV shows, and movies. So you probably have been missing Fahrenheit 451 references your entire life and just didn't really realize it. If you have read it before, but it's been a long time, because a lot of people read Fahrenheit 451 in school, but then they just never read it again. It's like, oh, I've read that, I don't need to go back and read it again. I'd encourage you just to check it out again. Again, just because everything that's going on in the world today. I think it's good to go back to this book every few years and remind yourself, like if you're really into books, why books are so important and why it's so important to fight back against any attempts to ban or take them away from people, deny access to books. You know, I think it falls into some of those books like 1984, To Kill a Mockingbird, for example, that have very important messages that are important to kind of read to remind yourself, like, you know, this is why it's important to read, why it can enforce values into basically building a better world and stuff like that. And also warning you about the dangers of things that can take you down the wrong path. So books are important. Read. Don't let them get banned. Support your local library. Support your local bookstore. And read Fahrenheit 451. Let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite book that you read in high school that quickly became one of your favorites? Because Fahrenheit 451 is definitely that for me. I hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you love books. If you do, hit the like button. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and happy reading.